week 1, day 6. And today we're going to talk about friendship. Remember that week 1 is all about belong. To whom do we belong? And we spent the first 5 days of week 1 talking about prayer, because it's through prayer that we realize that we belong to God our Father. And for the next 2 days, today and tomorrow, we're going to talk about belonging to the Christian community, the body of Christ. And so today, especially, we're going to talk about good Christian friendship. We're going to begin with a reading from John chapter 15, verse 12 through 15. This is my commandment. Love one another as I have loved you. No one has greater love than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends. You are my friends if you do what I command you. I no longer call you slaves, because a slave does not know what his master is doing. I have called you friends, because I have told you everything I have heard from my Father. Jesus calls us friends. But of course, there's different types of friendships, and there's perhaps different levels or degrees of friendship that we've all experienced. And the ancient Greek philosopher Aristotle has thought about this before, and he came up through his observations of 3 types of friendships. And they're listed right here before you. The first type of friendship is a friendship based on utility, a useful friendship. And now these friendships, of course, could be negative or harmful for obvious reasons. If people are using each other in a way that's harmful. But it doesn't have to be. Sometimes useful friendships are actually good, or at least neutral. For example, maybe you have a favorite restaurant that you like to attend. And at that restaurant, you have a favorite waitress that you always request. And there's a relationship between you and that waitress. You enjoy her service, and she enjoys your tip. Perhaps the same thing could happen at your favorite bank. Maybe you have a favorite bank teller, or maybe you have the plumber on speed dial because your pipes are just always messing up. But whatever it is, there's oftentimes a business transaction that it's a relationship and even a friendship of usefulness. So that's the first type of friendship. The second type of friendship is the one that we immediately think of when we think about friendship. That's one based off of pleasure, a pleasing friendship. And these friendships are the ones that, of course, that you share something in common. Maybe you enjoy the same type of music or the same type of sporting event, and maybe you just enjoy being around each other and you like to have drinks on a Friday night together. And these friends could be bad influences on your life. But of course, they don't have to be negative. Very often, pleasing friendships are good and healthy and good for us, or at least neutral. A lot of us have plenty of acquaintances that we enjoy being around. And these are pleasing friendships based off of pleasure. So Aristotle says that the first 2 friendships, the useful ones and the pleasing ones, are the most fragile. He says because they're not based on the friendship itself, that the relationship rather is based off of usefulness or pleasure. And the second that the friendship is no longer useful or no longer pleasing, then they oftentimes dissolve. Oftentimes these friends will grow apart. And so again, they're not necessarily bad friendships, but they're just not rooted into something permanent. And so Aristotle suggests that the third type of friendship is the most sturdy, and that's the virtuous friendship. These friendships are based in virtue. These friendships are the type of friendship where the 2 people care more about the friendship itself than about what they receive from it. They care more about the good of the other person. And the key here is that both people are committed to growing in virtue, and especially as Christians, that we're both committed to growing in our relationship with Jesus. And that makes this friendship extremely solid. It's founded in something that's not fleeting, but permanent. These are the friendships that are not easy to find, but when we find them, it is a treasure. And these are the friendships that we should definitely invest the majority of our time into. So what I would like for you to do today is to take some time to think about the different relationships that you have in your life. Chances are that you have a number of people in each category. Very often, it's the virtuous friendships that we have the least amount of. And that's not necessarily a bad thing because, again, these are not as easy to find, but hopefully we can recognize who fits in which category and perhaps ask the Lord to bless us with more virtuous friendships. And also ask the Lord to help us invest the proper amount of time and energy in those virtuous friendships. So this is going to be your homework. I would like for you to, let's see here, to make this chart. And on this chart, this is going to be for your eyes only. This is only for you just to really see it before you. After you make this chart, you can throw it away, you can shred it, whatever. But just for you to get started, I want you to think of 5 people in each category. Which of your friends or relationships are based on utility, on usefulness? Write those out. And which of your acquaintances or friends are based off of pleasure? Write those out. And then try to see if you have at least 5 friends that are based off of virtue, that are rooted in Christian virtue. Another way to say this is that these are spiritual friends. These are lifelong friends. Ask the Lord to reveal to you if you have any of those in your life. And if you don't have 5, then perhaps take a moment to pray that the Lord would bless you with more of these types of friendships. Thanks again for joining us for another episode of Daily Discipleship, a 4-week training to equip missionary disciples. If you've missed one of our videos and you'd like to catch up, you can go to our videos tab on our Facebook page to catch the full playlist. Also, please like, comment, and share these videos so that others can have access to this content. Remember that God does not call the qualified. He qualifies the called. We'll see you tomorrow at noon for another episode of Daily Discipleship.